so, and certainly we interviewed him after the game 4 weeks ago, and he seemed to be, there was a lot of passion and tension that was released after that win. I'm sure he's feeling more relaxed now.
Ackland named to start on the bench, which is an amazing thing for the Blues, given they don't have another ruckman. O'Halpin looks like he'll probably start in the ruck. There's Saddington leading out the Blues in game number 150 for him. Jason Saddington, since coming down from the Sydney Swans, has had a wretched run with injuries. Great to see him chalking up number 150. They've only won 2 of 4 here at Carrara. They haven't played here for 15 years, Lynchy.
Well, that makes it pretty tough to win over the last 15 years, and that would have been against the old Brisbane Bears, and that was a long time ago. I'm sure they're looking to create a bit of history for themselves, and they had a very impressive game in the NAB Cup semi-final that we covered, and it was a one-way, it was a forward offensive game. The Kangaroos started well, and the Blues hit back, and Fev just put on a clinic in the second half. So the Blues supporters will be hoping for another one of those.
Well, we're hoping for something, because they have lost 4 on the trot. Dennis Pagan will be desperate for a win, and Lee Colbert caught up with him earlier.
The Kangaroos have got off to a really good start so far this year. Has that been a focus this week?
Well, it certainly has. I think they've won 7 out of 7 first quarters, and they've won games virtually in the first quarter with their hardness, with their attack on the ball, and their work at the clearances, and winning the contested football. They've been sensational, and if we don't match them in that area, well, we're probably kidding ourselves.
You'll be looking forward to your ruck having a big influence tonight with Hamish McIntosh playing pretty good footy.
Geez, he was great. Last week I watched him, his mobility, and he's really grown as a footballer, and we've put a real challenge to our guys, and we need to be more than competitive at the stoppage work. As I said, Hamish just improved in leaps and bounds.
And also Jason Saddington, perseverance has paid off. He's got to 150 games.
Well, it's a wonderful story, Lee. A couple of years ago, or last year, he was told he shouldn't play, his knee was no good, and he fought against that. Saw a doctor who did an operation and gave him some sort of chance. He stuck at it, and he didn't look too well at the start, but he's got back all his mobility now. And we just hope, it's a great story in footy, that I just hope that he can continue on with it and play as well as he did last week.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy tonight.
Thanks, Lee.
Well, they came up short against traditional rival Collingwood last week, but Lynchy, one thing we did see was a decent old melee erupt, and there were plenty of fines handed out, in particular to a number of Carlton players.
Yes, and it was the way was led by Fev. He's just came crashing into this pack, and he's inside of the melee. And I think a lot of Carlton supporters would have been very impressed by the passion shown, trying to stick up for their younger players. But the AFL, they probably weren't happy, but their coffers were filled after this little fracas.
Yeah, I think the fans enjoyed it. There's the man that started it all. He had great success up here in the NAB Cup, booting 8, leading the Blues to a great win as they got on to win that competition. But he was doing that to protect Mark Murphy, one of the youngsters for Carlton that needs to be protected by the senior players. Don't know that they necessarily did it the right way, but the intention was correct, wasn't it?
Without doubt. I mean, he's had a lot of attention now that Nick Stevens out for the year. It was a premier midfielder. He's a young player. He's a very exciting player. He's going to get a lot of attention from opposition clubs, and he's been heavily tagged. So the senior players have got to stand up.
Here come the Kangaroos, led out by their unheralded skipper in Adam Simpson. Game number 250, a fantastic effort running out with the kids. And as we mentioned, they have won 4 on the trot, the Kangaroos. They've had a scoring accuracy of 70% over the last month, ranking them number 1 in the competition, Lynchy. And they've also won 4 or 5 games here at Carrara, so starting to build a home ground advantage.
Yes, they're very comfortable here. They've only played a few games, but they like coming up to the Gold Coast. They enjoy the surface, and there was a bit of a worry. How are they going to replace the goals at Tomo?
Yep.
The void that was filled there with his knee injury. They've found a way through the midfield. Their small, exciting forwards have done the damage for them.
Yeah, great spirit for the Kangaroos. I imagine there's probably a smile on Dean Laidley's face, and Lee Colbert caught up with him a short time ago.
Dean, welcome back to Carrara. This is where the season started so great for the Kangaroos a month ago.
Yeah, it was, and look, we've been playing some pretty good footy, but it's another opportunity up here, and the people are going to come out and support us, so we have to play well again.
And Brendan Fafol is a focus for every club, and not any different tonight with the Kangaroos. Obviously, you'll have someone prepared for him. I don't expect you to tell us who it is, but he is a key for the Carlton Footy Club.
Yeah, look, Michael Fred, I'll start on him. We think he's the best matchup, and look, he did a pretty good job, but he still managed to get goals up here in the pre-season. So Michael's going to have his work cut out tonight, but we're relying on him.
And Adam Simpson, the captain, playing 250 games. You have a great relationship with him. Terrific effort.
Oh, look, superstar in my book. The way he leads, he's a great captain. And look, we watched the video this afternoon of a young, fresh-faced 18-year-old with a bowl haircut and braces, and you see the man he's turned into today is fantastic. So good luck to him.
Thanks very much for your time tonight.
No worries, thanks.
Great to see a relaxed Kangaroos coach, Dean Laidley. So many players for the Kangaroos that just get the job done. Not necessarily household names, Lynchy. Daniel Harris is one. I'm a big rap for this guy. He just does the hard yards every week. And well supported in the midfield by a young bloke by the name of Andrew Swallow, who's really come on in leaps and bounds.
Yes, without doubt. I mean, Harris is heading towards 100 games and leads from the well. Ability to kick goals is very handy for them as well. But young Swallow, he's Western Australian, captain of the Western Australian under-18 team 2 years ago, and his class around the clearances has been outstanding. He's got silky skills, and that's what the Kangaroos need. They're going to continue to rebuild. They need guys like Swallow to come through and complement Harris and Rawlings and their captain in Simpson.
Absolutely. We mentioned the loss of Thompson up forward, but with Daniel Wells out of the midfield, an even greater responsibility falls upon these players, doesn't it?
Yeah, without doubt. And you know, the senior players have got to stand up, but also the youngsters have had a bit of time. I think Swallow's played 19 games now, and so he's starting to feel his way in. He's comfortable at the level. One
of those senior players that stood up last week was big Leroy Brown. He kicked 4, gave him a great target up forward. He'll try and do that again tonight.
Yes, he's a very imposing big forward, and certainly when he can go down back and he can play centre back, full back, and pick up the best of the forwards in the competition. But he needs to be jumping hard, splitting the packs, showing a bit of passion around the forward line to encourage those young forwards to get to the front and they get the opportunity to kick goals, and not just solely reliant on a mark kick game.
Yeah, he's one of those players that has picked up the slack that needed to be picked up with Nathan Thompson going down. They've certainly got other options up there as well with Aaron Edwards, Drew Petrie, and yeah, you know, the traditional Brent Harvison and Shannon Grants that do tend to kick the goals for them. Well, there is a very big occasion for the Kangaroos skipper tonight. Adam Simpson is playing game number 250. This is a guy that just leads by example. He does it all. We have got a huge interview with Adam Simpson coming up at half-time, which is great because we rarely get to hear from him. And as we go to the break, let's hear a little from the 250 gamer, and we've got the first bounce coming up in just a moment.
I don't put myself in the same categories of, you know, Wayne Careys and Glenn Archers and those type of players. It's definitely it's a different feeling than that. You know, I'm just happy to contribute and be, if I can play consistently and do my job, I'm pretty satisfied, and that's been the main aim throughout my career.
777, yep, coming to us, 77.
Do we know what the weather forecast for tonight is?
Got you there, Emma? No, I'm not aware of it. It's quite mild out there, though.
I have Emma.
Yes, can hear you, Emma.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. This is John here.
Teams just going through their final preparations as we prepare for the first bounce here at Carrara, Gold Coast Stadium, and reasonably tropical conditions as you'd expect up here on the coast. Well, when it's almost action time, that is the cue for John Casey to take the stage. Welcome, Case. Looking forward to tonight's clash.
Thanks, Jace. Good evening, everyone. Yes, certainly looking forward to this clash. Jason Stadding hitting his 150th, and Adam Simpson, game number 250. Toss the coin. And it's ahead. Jason Saddington has elected to kick to the northern end of Carrara here, and hasn't the landscape changed for these two teams over the past decade? The Kangaroos have won 13 out of 17 against Carlton. It's a long way from when the Kangaroos, as North Melbourne, first entered the competition. They lost their first 15 matches against Carlton. And tonight they have another debutant. We're going to see Scott McMahon for the first time. And for Carlton, well, Anthony 250th played his first game last weekend, only played half the match. They'll be expecting much more from Kuta tonight. He starts on the bench. And Andrew Corazzo has certainly been an outstanding talent for them so far this season. And Kuta, who of course in his 16th season, he'll be 34 years of age and the oldest player out there tonight. But Andrew Corazzo, at just 23 years of age, had a career high 34 possessions last week. 7 marks, 7 inside 50, 7 clearances, and he is a man on the move. Our man down on the boundary line tonight, Lee Colbert. And Lee, you can update us with the absence of Glenn Archer, which is a big blow for the Roos.
It is indeed, John. It's actually a family issue. Madison, young daughter of Glenn and Lisa, is actually in hospital. So send a cheerio out to little Maddie, and get well, Dale, you beautiful little girl. So I just want to say beautiful conditions here, and it should be a cracker of a game.
Thanks, Colby. Yes, our thoughts with the family as well. We saw
Absolutely.
Adam Simpson bring his kids and Owen, Ali and Miller out onto the ground with him to go through the banner, and what a servant he has been for the Kangaroos. Currently 20 degrees here. It was 27 a little earlier, quite bright and warm. But we have seen here, as we saw earlier in the season when the Kangaroos beat Brisbane, Alistair, that it can get a little dewy at night, and the game seems to change in the second half in terms of trying to control the ball.
Without doubt, the dew came in and it was very heavy, and it was slippery condition. It was basically wet weather conditions in the second half. It would be an exciting, quick-moving ball game in the first half, though. You can be sure of that.
The Blues have loaded up their forward line. Waite's playing forward, Favola's playing forward, Whitnell's playing forward, also Fisher. 4 marking targets with Betts and Murphy, the small forwards.
Well, they've certainly got to kick the goals. Waite's a good move forward, and hopefully Lance gets his hand on the ball.
Underway from the Gold Coast Stadium, Hamish McIntosh gets the first.